Well, it was bound to happen, wasn't it? And no, I'm not talking about me changing the logo and using a custom team for this franchise. We'll see who gets salty about that. But the Chicago Blackhawks are finally, fully, truly rebuilding following the trade of Patrick Kane to the New York Rangers and Jonathan Taves' future very much being in doubt. There is no denying that this franchise is in full rebuild mode, which means it is the perfect time for me to take control and build this team back up to a contender. That said, I do have to give credit to Kyle Davidson. I think he has done a phenomenal job so far of building this team, but you know what? Or at least, kicking off the rebuild with all the numerous draft picks that they have. But I'm taking over the reins from here on out. Now, it is worth noting, of course, I am using my custom rosters. So, of course, if you're on the Xbox Series consoles, check out the most recent video, check out the roster. But I won't have the full amount of draft picks, of course, that Chicago will have ahead of them, which is rather unfortunate. But it's okay. I have a feeling that we will find a way to make it through. When it comes to this rebuild, we're not going to do anything too crazy. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm not really going to look to really cheese the AI at any point or anything like that. It's going to kind of be the mixture of, somewhat rule heavy, but not actually rule heavy. But the idea of that is very much going to be in effect. We are as well also going to turn off computer trades for season 1 so that the rosters stay very, very similar to what they are IRL post deadline. So keep that in mind. I'm going to be messing around with some settings here as well. I had some things suggested to me to try and replicate IRL scoring, and we'll see if I can get that to work for me. But yeah, for the most part, this first season, well, it's all about this team being as bad as possible to potentially end up with one Connor Bedard. That is, of course, the big question for every franchise mode to start. Of course, free agency-wise, there's nobody major to sign. There's no real prospects to sign. I mean, our roster is essentially our roster. Our staff will be our staff because, there's not too much to change there. There won't be great free agents, but there we go. That is the target. I did turn the draft quality down. I should note that, but of course you can't stop generated players from being there. But a top 3 pick is the target, if not the number 1 overall pick, a franchise-changing franchise player. So let's take a look at the roster here because it is pretty much as bad as you would suspect. And so it auto-signed me Drew Comesso, which is a shame. You can't really stop auto-signings from happening, but it does kind of change what we might do goaltending-wise. Arvid Soderblom, listed as a backup, so what we're going to do, actually, is likely call him up, and we'll run 3-3 in terms of goaltenders. For the defense, this is going to be painful, is what this is. And then forward-wise, let me send down David Gust really quickly. Double check what we have. So Isaac Phillips is listed as a minor league top 2. This is this isn't overly pretty. We're going to send Isaac Phillips down. I think that's for the best. And we could go with the likes of Andy Welinski. Let's go with Andreas Englund, who was just acquired by the team. He is an enforcer. Don't know if we'll run with him full time. Aside from that, let's go with Andy Welinski. Why not? I'll have to, drop another forward, but that's not too big of a deal. Brett Seney, down you go. And then, as far as the team is concerned, we do have Jonathan Taves here and ready to play for this season. I'll pretty much leave it up, I think, to the comments in terms of what we look to do in that first offseason. Do we look to bring Taves back? Do we try to reacquire Kane as a free agent? We will have some options. Lucas Reichel, listed as a depth forward. Let's let him play in the AHL and hopefully tear things up. Anders Bjork, who was acquired, we might bump him back up. Let's see, that is 10, 11, 12, 13, with Joey Anderson, and that is pretty much the team. It's not going to be good. I don't know, though, if we'll be able to out-tank the likes of the Arizona Coyotes, for example. I'll show you their roster in a minute once we get to the beginning of the season. But taking a look, here we go, best lines. It actually scratches Jujhar Khaira, which I'd prefer not to happen. I mean, Joey Anderson ends up playing. Khaira can play left wing and center. I am going to try to play people within their proper roles, as always. I mean, it's Boris Kachuk, essentially. Or it's Anders Bjork. I guess we'll scratch Anders Bjork. Let's bring in Jujhar Khaira. We do lose that bonus there, but, well, hey, look at that. Well, Jujhar, congratulations. You're going to be on our second line from the looks of it. That is horrifying. I mean, yeah, God, this team. When you really start to look at it, this team, it's a team. That is for sure. That is pretty much going to be the offense. The defense is looking good. Nothing to change. It has Walensky as the scratch. And Peter Mrazek, he's here for next season as well. But we're going to make sure that Arvid Soderblom gets more of the starts. You could argue it would be worth it with Alex Stalock. But, yeah, honestly, Arvid Soderblom might be our starter this year since he is NHL caliber. It'll be worth getting him more ice time. In the AHL, we need to make sure that Jackson Stauber and Drew Commesso are the 1-2 punch here, with Commesso being the starter. Again, it auto-signed him for me. There's nothing I can do about it, but since he's here, we might as well use him. Cliff Watson, great hockey smile. Crevier, Krutil, we're going to want to use both of those guys. We actually have quite a few younger players on this defense. It also auto-signed Alex Vlasic. So we'll take Galvis out for Alex Vlasic. And to go with the high, I was going to say the high 7th. It's medium 6 for Krutil and medium 7th for Clevier. So we'll roll with that for the AHL defense. And then forward-wise, Bustecker is under an AHL deal, so we can take him out. Of course, Gogolev, who they acquired from the Leafs, it's not looking good. Hunter Drew, got Bobby Lynch, Garrett Mitchell, and former Maine Mariner Morgan Adams Moisan. Probably Hunter Drew or Gogolev. Does it even matter who ends up playing? I'm not sure. I'm really not. This team's bad. This team is bad. Honestly, I think we're okay to just run it at this stage. So let's go ahead, since we know we won't be doing too much this season, and it's mostly about the sim. Let's go ahead and sim to the start of this season. And like I said, we're bad for sure. We are a very, very bad team, but I don't know if we're going to be the worst of the worst. The reason for that, I'm going to quickly scroll through this here so you guys can get a look at what certain teams will look like here and how the AI choose to set themselves up. But yeah, outside of signing Gabriel Dumont, yeah, Arizona is absolutely tragic. I don't know how we can possibly out-tank them. The sim would very much have to be on our side. Wow, they still found a way to put Trent Frederick on the second line. Interesting. That's the first time I've seen them do that. And I've run numerous test runs, so interesting. It just goes to show that you can end up with kind of different coaches and different preferred strategies every time you load into the game. Obviously, certain teams that in the past would have been competition for bottom of the standings, Buffalo has turned the corner. There was no real consideration in using them because they are stacked right now. Carolina often don't sim very well. I'm going to be intrigued to see how they do, because with trades off, they should keep their team intact and should be decent. The Columbus Blue Jackets as well. Not the best team right now, but we should be worse, although that goaltending is certainly a little bit suspect. Calgary, you would expect to be half decent in the sim, even though I don't really understand what the hell they did or did not do at the trade deadline. Worth plugging and promoting, of course, the Tukey's Take podcast, which you can listen to everywhere podcasts can be heard or right here on YouTube. We had our trade deadline special, and that was one of the things we talked about. Why are you doing what you're doing, Calgary? Or not doing in terms of trades. I mean, they technically made trades. They were involved in the first ever brother for brother trade. So that was interesting. Dallas, of course, you would expect them to be half decent as well. Detroit. Yeah, man. So it turns out there's just nothing you can do from stopping the AI from being dumb. I've tried. All my test runs, they'd put Andrew Kopp on the second line. But yeah, so you can load into a franchise mode and get teams with different coaches and different strategies at the start, and you just don't know what the hell they are going to do, unfortunately. So because of that, I actually can't really predict what the hell we're going to see here for these teams. But we'll take a look at the rest of them, the end of the way, or at the end of the run, should I say. But for now, we are going to start this brand new season. I'm going to be a little bit more hands-on with rotating goalies in and out just to make sure that our top guys are getting more games throughout this season. And perfect. 1-1. Good way to start. Good way to start. I mean, Jonathan Toews should very, very well lead this team in points. We'll see if we have to deal with any injuries as well. But we have a ways to go before I'm going to worry about anything in regards to changing up settings. We lost to San Jose. We got shut out by San Jose. Get our first win against Detroit. So there you go. Hopefully, not the first of many. Taylor Radish with the minor injury. Nothing too crazy there. We beat Edmonton because, of course, we did. We'll always... Oh, my God, we're winning games. 3-5, technically, on the season. Arvid Soderblom has a 933. Oh, no. Oh, no. Mr. Soderblom, you are doing way too well, my friend. Way, way too well. Not cool. I'm going to need you to be a little bit worse here, although maybe you could be an answer in the short term. In goal, maybe even long term. There we go. Now we're losing games. Good. Good. Philip Kurashev leading the way. Ian Mitchell picks up an injury in Rockford. It's unfortunate. He might be a decent piece for us moving forward. Yes, keep losing. Thank you. Ian Mitchell, good to go. Let's make sure he's in. Reichel, by the way, already gone up by a point. That is very, very good news. Again, he is a crucial player for us moving forward. Don't really have the high-end prospects right now with this team. So, again, the Bedard draft means that much more to us as we lose to Boston 7-6 in the shootout. Was Linus Ullmark wearing a blindfold in that game? How the hell did that happen? Let's see. It's in this game. Rockford at 9-5. It's not too bad. Yeah, Reichel is one of, if not, our very best prospect at this stage. Oh my goodness, we shut out Pittsburgh 3-0 as well. Jalen Lupin, sprained ankle. Rockford, back-to-back shutout victories. What is this team so far? I know we have a losing record, but we have been a bizarre team to follow so far. Lupin's not all that important. We can leave him out. A very, very bizarre team to follow so far. Just given the hot and cold tendencies, really. Soderblom rocking a 917 still. Kamessa with a 941 in the AHL. So high expectations for Rockford then. Hopefully they can make the playoffs, get that little bit of extra playing time for some of our younger guys. So move forward. Regula had a slight injury he was dealing with. And Caleb Jones, slight injury for him too. Nothing too crazy. New Jersey's looking good. Andreas Englund sprains his ankle. Get him out of there. 3 wins in our last 10. Not bad. Winnipeg, solid loss. Love to see it. And for the most part, injury-wise, we're just dealing with some very minor injuries. An 8-0 loss to the Washington Capitals. Fantastic. Get Welinski out of there. Get our enforcer Englund back in. 8-0 to Washington. And again, they have, surprisingly for the Capitals, they elected to kind of sell a little bit more despite being within striking distance of a playoff spot. I was very, very surprised to see that, although I don't think it's necessarily the wrong move. Of course, Rasmus Sandin, member of the Caps now too, so they didn't entirely sell. They did give up a first-round pick. Another 8 goals against, this time against the Rangers. Awkward moment there, of course, with Patrick Kane elsewhere, as we continue to, for the most part, still be pretty terrible as we approach the new year. It's the final game of 2022. And swap goaltenders over here. Really, Jackson Stauber's only played 2 games, huh? 948 for Alex Stalock in 10 games. Oh my God. What are these numbers? Limited sample size, I know, but Jesus. It's still a 945. He has been insane. Gave up 3 goals in that last game, so I guess that really kind of goes to show you that we are allowing a ton of shots as Reese Johnson gets hurt. And funny enough, January 17th is just about our target date before we are going to switch a couple of things over just for this little test run that I was recommended in terms of scoring numbers. And with that, 12, 23, and 6 at our first little stopping point here. Let's take a look at the team and around the league as well. Let's start off with the standings. In the Central, it's Minnesota, Colorado, Winnipeg at the top. And we are right there with the Coyotes. They technically have a worse points percentage. But that's okay. We're hanging in there with the Coyotes in terms of being terrible. The Atlantic is Boston, Tampa, Toronto. Where's the lie? The Florida Panthers, though, are pretty tragic, which, where's the lie? In the Metro, Islanders, Caps, and Devils leading the way. Again, the Hurricanes, for some reason, always sim terribly. With my rosters, EA's rosters, I don't know what it is. And in the Pacific, Edmonton, Seattle, and Vegas. So right now, it's the Bruins, number 1 team in the league. It's them and Tampa over a 70% points percentage. We are the second worst team right now. Arizona and Calgary, our biggest competition. We're the only 3 teams with a sub 40% points percentage. Taking a look at our team, it's actually Philip Kurashev leading the way for us. A couple of guys over 20 points. Very disappointing season for Athanasiou so far. Just 16 points, 4 goals. Yikes. And it's been as bad offensively as you would suspect. Seth Jones just 14 points. Caleb Jones with 13. Andy Welinski no points in his 2 games. The goaltending has actually been pretty solid given the circumstances. But yeah, that's it's not great throughout the league. Good Lord, Johnny Gaudreau. Imagine that, Blue Jackets fans. Sheesh, 72 points, 46 goals in 42 games for David Pastrnak. Thomas and Kyrou are crushing it for St. Louis. Jack Hughes is amazing. Got Burakovsky, Jesper Bratt, and Austin Matthews up there. No sign of Connor McDavid at the moment. Is he up there for assists? No, he is not. Where is Connor McDavid? There's Draisaitl on 53. 48 and 45 for McDavid, despite essentially every offensive category and skating being 99s. GG's EA. You love to see it. Defensively, Fox, Karlsson, Werenski, Erik Karlsson, Shea Theodore, all up there for points. 1 goal for Fox, by the way, but 15 for Erik Karlsson and Aaron Ekblad. And, of course, Ottawa's Jacob Chikrin. Goalie-wise, winningest is Linus Ullmark with 25 wins in 38 games. The shutout leader right now is Connor Hellebuck with 6. Save percentage king, at least amongst starters. Actually, Marc-Andre Fleury, Jack Campbell's up there too. So, what a weird start to this season. Matty Beniers right now looking like not quite a lock, but certainly the favorite to win the Calder. So with that, let's go ahead, update these setups here as we will go to the wrong part of town. No, we won't. We'll go up to mid-scoring and high shots still. And we'll see what we deal with from there. Like I said, I was recommended this kind of strategy. We'll see if it pays off. Next stop is the non-existent trade deadline because, yeah, again, we're not going to have a single trade here. We're going to leave the rosters as they are following the IRL trade deadline. Shout out to Philadelphia, who is actually doing very, very well there in this sim. So Stalock's back in, as is Jackson Stauber. And we'll go ahead and play that game there. A loss for Rockford, but they're still looking pretty good. Reichel still kicking in at a 75. Not too bad. He'll definitely be on this team full-time starting next season as we continue to lose hockey games. This is beautiful and accurate, but beautiful to say the least. And then we beat Edmonton because I had a little bit of joy for once. Imagine, simply not allowed. Arizona, the Tank Bowl against the Coyotes. And actually, we will be starting our primary option here. Yeah, 6-3 loss. Beautiful. A victory through defeat in the Tank Bowl. Thank you very much, Mr. Soderblom. We'll sim these next two games with Stalock in goal. He beats Winnipeg, loses to Montreal. Big Canadian swing here in terms of just the amount of games against Canadian teams. 933 now. 3 wins and 14 appearances for Alex Stalock. That is downright brutal. Absolutely brutal. Look at this, though. Speaking of brutal, yes, just 2 wins. Make that 3 wins in our last 10. We lose to Vegas as well. Swap it over again. Stalock for Soderblom. Stauber in for Comesso. Can we win this game? AHL team loses. We'll know for the NHL team in a second. Reichel up to a 76. Fantastic. Fantastic development for him. We got absolutely floored by Dallas and, oh baby, Arizona. Coming up yet again as we approach the trade deadline, Tyler Johnson picks up an injury as we get ready again for the trade deadline. That is not actually the trade deadline, but after this we'll be able to turn computer trades back on. As we did beat the Coyotes. That's a shame. That is a shame. I was hoping, obviously, that we would lose to them. So trading results in the Tank Bowl. Comesso, by the way, back up to a 72. We take on Dallas and lose that game. That brings us to the trade deadline. We'll just hit continue simming because nothing is going to happen. And with that, so we do not forget, let's go down and turn computer trades back on in the off season will be the deal. So what we are going to do as well is go way back down to the bottom. Did I miss it? I did. We are going to go with medium scoring, high shots, and let's turn offside and icing back on. And we'll see what the scoring ends up looking like. Time will tell. I wanted to try this, though. I've been meaning to try it. So let's keep it going. Our home stretch here for this season, it's looking like we have fantastic odds for that number 1 overall pick. Top 3 is a necessity. It would be an outright disaster for the plans that we have with this team to end up outside of that top 3. Good shutout victory there for Jackson Stauber in the AHL. Drew Comesso has been phenomenal for the Ice Hogs. Let's see, Tyler Johnson's ready to go. We should probably get him back into the lineup in favor of Reese Johnson. We've had some development here for some of these guys, too. Not too bad. I mean, Joey Anderson up to a 75. Some development here and there. I'm a bit surprised Kurashev's not up over an 80, given that he is our leading scorer and has been all season long. Boston kicks the hell out of us. Nashville does the same. Another tank bowl against Arizona. This time we lose. It isn't a shootout. That's good. We're still getting the better of the Coyotes. We are currently below them in the standings here. Kurashev injured. I mean, what better time for your leading scorer to go down injured than right at the end of the season when we have one win in our last 10 games. This is working out perfectly to get the number one odds at Connor Bedard, as we do end up beating Vancouver in overtime. Let's go ahead and get Mr. Soderblom back in there. Comesso for Rockford. And here we go. The home stretch. 8 games left. We get blown out by Dallas. We lose to St. Louis. We lose to New Jersey. Look at that. A game at hand, 4 points back of Arizona. Kurashev is healthy. So we'll get Reese Johnson out of there. And bring back one Philip Kurashev. Here we go. Calgary. We lose in a shootout. Vancouver. We lose 6-1. This is beautiful. 5 points back with the game at hand. Seattle, we lose. Oh, those number one odds are ours. There's no way someone's managed to out-tank us, right? There's no way. Not at this point. This team has been wonderfully terrible as we lose to Minnesota as well. 2 games left to go this season. And again, top draft odds are looking oh so likely as we do beat Pittsburgh, Philadelphia to cap it off with a 4-0 shutout victory. But that should very well secure us the top lottery odds. Let's take a look, and the answer is yes. 3 points back of the Coyotes. And the Ducks, again, the Hurricanes, for whatever reason, are terrible, as always. But indeed, we managed to tank and tank well, as we were one of 4 teams to score under 200 goals. And our goals against, second highest in the league, as it was us in Arizona to allow 300. Nobody else allowed more than 270. So we'll obviously get a look at the playoff bracket here in a second, but let's take a look at the scoring for the team. So Taves, Kurashev were up there. 21 goals for Taylor Radish. That's certainly not bad. 49 points for him. Athanasiou started to figure it out as the season went along. You know, all in all, not that bad in terms of kind of how this team performed and how you would expect certain players to perform on this team. We didn't really get Seth Jones putting up points. Jared Tenorti with 19. I mean, somebody has to put up points, I suppose, on this team. And Arvid Soderblom finished the season with a .905 save percentage. Staylock, not bad as a backup. Let's see what we have. League-wide. Holy God. Well, oh my God. That is not what I was expecting. Andre Burakovsky goes off. Sheesh, 124 points. He had 120 for Goodrow. 77 goals for David Pasternak. 72 for Jack Hughes. 69 for Matthews. 63 for McDavid. They finished with the same point total. Zach Hyman had 90 assists. Robert Thomas had 91. Jesus, I don't know. Maybe this particular settings attempt worked or didn't. It depends on certain opinions, but my God, there were some crazy numbers. 270 goal scorers. I mean, you don't put it past David Pasternak or Jack Hughes to actually be able to do that, but there were a lot of 50 goal scorers, so I don't know if I necessarily will use that same formula yet again, but it certainly resulted in some interesting results. It's Fox, Carlson, the other Carlson. I mean, some pretty high point producing defensemen. Both Erik Karlsson and Cale Makar over 30 goals as well. For the goaltenders, Jack Campbell was the winningest, 9 shutouts for Connor Hellebuck. And in terms of save percentage, Jack Campbell with a .932 leading the way amongst starters and likely, I would say likely, winning the Vezina this season. And Matty Beniers' 35 goals is certainly winning the Calder. So, interesting results there. We'll see what we run with for the scoring settings moving forward. Playoff-wise, what do we have? It is Minnesota, St. Louis, Colorado, Winnipeg, Seattle, Vegas, interesting, Edmonton, Nashville, Columbus, and Washington, the Islanders and Sens, Bruins, Leafs, Lightning, and Devils. Okay. I mean, even this game knows the Columbus Blue Jackets shouldn't have been as bad as they were and currently are. IRL is Austin Wagner. Picks up an injury, and I presume Rockford have made the playoffs. Yes, they have. So maybe, just maybe, we have certain changes that we might want to make to that lineup to make them as strong as possible. Could send down Soderblom to let him be the starter, but I think Drew Comesso really has kind of earned that particular start. And there's really nobody else to send down, really. So actually the AHL, pretty much good to go. Only thing we'll do is make sure now that it is just the best team possible in terms of overall. And that way they have the best chance possible. And Comesso is now outright the starter for that team, which is great. So let's see what the Rockford Ice Hogs can do. They are taking on the Chicago Wolves in round number 1. Wagner's fully healthy. It's a 1-1 split. Make that 2-1 in Chicago's favor. 3-1 in Chicago's favor. We survive Game 5. We survive Game 6. And we survive Game 7. Shout out to Rockford. All right. Texas in round 2. But from 3-1 down after winning Game 1, Alex Vlasic does get hurt. 1-1 split with Texas. 2-1 in our favor. Vlasic is ready to go. Let's get him back in the lineup here for Cliff Watson. Vlasic up to a 73. He might be NHL ready for Season 2. And what do we have? What just happened? There we go. That was really weird. So a 2-2 split with the Texas Stars. Make that 3-2 in our favor. Cole Gutman gets hurt. We're going to another Game 7. And this time we survive again. It's going to be Bakersfield in the conference final. Other side is Rochester and Hartford, the Battle of New York. Except, Hartford, Connecticut. My goodness, the Battle of New York, of course, from their NHL teams. But with that, we lose Game 1 to Bakersfield. Game number 2, oh boy, Bakersfield. Mike Hardman, post-concussion syndrome. We do win Game 3. We have to win Game 4. And we do. It's a 2-2 split. Game 5, backs against the wall. We're going to our 3rd straight Game 7. Has the magic run out? No, it has not. 3 Game 7 victories for Rockford en route to making the Calder Cup final against the Hartford Wolfpack. Unbelievable from this team. Can they get a Calder Cup victory in Season 1? Stanley Cup final is Columbus and St. Louis. Okay, sure. That's something that can happen. Game 1 against Hartford goes to Rockford. Game number 2 goes to Rockford. Game number 3 goes to Rockford. And the Ice Hogs, 1 win away from a Calder Cup, and that would be a heck of a way. My goodness, look at this. 1 heck of a way to start off a new franchise mode when you're rebuilding and you know the NHL team is going to be bad. What better way to start than to have your AHL team take home the Calder Cup? And they are going to do so by sweeping the Hartford Wolfpack in the final. Crazy. What jersey do we want to raise the cup in? It should just be the home jersey. It should be the home jersey. Amazing stuff. Amazing for the Wolfpack. And, they get here and then you just get stomped. You just get absolutely stomped by the Rockford Ice Hogs. I got a cough. I can't quite shake. But, yeah, this was awesome. Wyatt Kalanick, Aiden Korczak. Good thing is, I normally don't play these, and oh my God, they are damn well determined not to lose. Gotta remember, too, it's AHL caliber players, so with my rosters, they're not very good, which, yeah. You play an AHL team with an NHL team, and yeah, you're going to notice the NHL team's pretty good. Philip Roos, Tim Gettinger with the moves. My God, imagine they had accuracy. They'd be in the NHL. Galvis, hold it. Back to Pavel Gogolev, Philip Roos, to Dave Gust, the hero, the legend. Oh man, avoiding checks, what a man. Can we hit the Michigan? We gonna have space? Yep, we are. Michigan? Oh, come on. It would have been great. 25 seconds away. Gogolev? Whoops. Let's just readjust. Dave, I'm gonna need a hip check here. Beauty. Couldn't hold it. It's fine. Get a forward change out there. But yeah, man, what a surprise this was, certainly, to see this team be able to go the distance here in Season 1. That is it. We are Calder Cup champions. No real connection to the team, but we'll celebrate it regardless. Our first bit of silverware that hopefully will not be our last. Lucas Reichel and company get the job done and survive 3 Game 7s en route and then sweep the Hartford Wolfpack in game number 4, of course, and in the Calder Cup final. Beautiful. Turner Elson, AHL legend, disappointed. I don't even know who their goalie is, but he's heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. The handshake line. I always forget what this celebration has that the Stanley Cup celebration doesn't. The answer is most things. But hey, handshake line, things are good. We're going to celebrate this. We are going to enjoy this victory because it's likely the last victory we'll have for a very long time unless we get Connor Bedard. And we're going to find out here very, very soon. Connor Bedard coming to Chicago. A situation that, no offense, I hope it doesn't happen in real life, because the owner of this team in real life is a terrible person, and I wish him nothing but failure after failure, even though, I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire and he's doing just fine for himself, but that doesn't mean that I can't wish him failure after failure. But in this reality, hey, we're going to go for it. And again, we already have a Calder Cup to our credit. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And it's ours. The Ice Hog logo is so good. I'm glad they're fully embracing the hog, similar to the Iowa Chops of years past. But job well done. The question now, Columbus or St. Louis for the Stanley Cup? We are about to find out. And the answer is Columbus. So the Blue Jackets get it done. That is, that is something. They beat Washington, Ottawa, and Tampa, and then St. Louis in the final. The Columbus Blue Jackets win the Stanley Cup because Johnny Gaudreau is the GOAT, apparently. But, yeah, I mean, for the most part, they're being carried by their main players, and they managed to get absolutely elite goaltending from Elvis Merzlikins, because 77 overalls would would post a .941 save percentage in 21 games. Of course they would. That's just how this game works. With that, let's take a look at the awards. So again, we have a shock Stanley Cup champion in Season 1, a shock Art Ross winner in Andre Burakovsky. Leon Draisaitl, though, wins the Hart. Adam Fox wins another Norris. The Calder does go to Matty Beniers. Johnny Gaudreau wins the Conn Smythe. Jack Campbell to Vezina. What else do we got here? Selke to Sasha Barkov. Ted Lindsay to Leon Draisaitl. And the Rocket Richard goes to David Pasternak. In the AHL, Mackenzie McEachern put up the most points. Mikhail Maltsev was league MVP. Jamel Smith with the most goals. Cole Gutman was top rookie. Connor Timmins top defender. Top goaltender was Drew Commesso, which is awesome. And the Calder Cup playoffs MVP, the Butterfield, goes to Luke Philp. So quite a bit of representation for Rockford. But here we go. It's what we've been waiting for. Again, we need to find out what we're going to be doing with the likes of Taves and Kane. But for now, what is going to happen lottery-wise? Will Connor Bedard be a member of the Chicago Blackhawks? The answer is no.